I think it works now. We live? All right, this is the premiere of the YouTube. I just want to get on board. We're going to start doing this maybe 2 or 3 times a week. This is the first time I've done it, and I'm excited about it. Really excited about the subscriptions, and I wanted to do this because I needed to explain a few things. The website is up. The subscriptions have been very, very successful. We did have one minor glitch, and that is if you did not use the promo code, you didn't get the 50% discount. So if you paid 0.1 Bitcoin instead of 0.05 Bitcoin, you will be getting a refund. We're setting that up now, and it's just, and the people that sent me their email addresses, I did it manually. So that's where we are on that. And the other things I wanted to cover was, if I can read my notes. Okay, and the subscription, of course, is for my life, not your life. So if you're 18 years old and you think you're going to get a lifetime subscription to your 100, no, it's when I drop dead. When I drop dead, the subscription drops dead. So it's my life, not yours, but it is a lifetime subscription. And then the other thing I wanted to outline very briefly is that the referral service hopefully will be going before the end of this month. There's a lot to getting that going. We're going to keep the price through April 30th at half price. And then if we get the referral code up before then, the half price discount will still be in effect. And also, I wanted to explain the difference between the lifetime basic subscription and the trading subscription. Now, this morning, I think every week so far, if you have a basic subscription, you have been getting my morning daily newsletter. So if you like that, you might want to upgrade, because that's just going to happen for a little while. There's not a whole lot of people that are on the basic subscription, and you don't really, if you're not going to trade, you don't need it. But if you do trade, if you want to see what we're doing there, then you should go ahead and do the upgrade. And then the last thing I wanted to cover is that we're going to have a really great YouTube come Saturday. And there's a new, I don't want to call him a kid on the block, but there's a new emerging superstar as far as some trading ideas. And so there's links to that on the tweet that I sent out. So you can visit his website and look at his videos. And his name is Castusis, and I can't pronounce the last name, but I saw his work, and I said, man, this stuff is really good. You don't see this kind of work very often. And then we started talking about our mutual history, and he has a fascinating history. So, and found out we were neighbors, and so I've been invited to his house, and he's much better at video productions than I am. So we're going to have just a very casual fireside chat on Saturday afternoon. And we started talking, and it just went all around the world on the subject, and that's the way we're going to keep it, because I think it'll be fascinating on both ends. We're just picking each other's brains and having a great time. So if you have any questions, I don't know if we have it set up so I can, my eyesight is bad. Okay. Any questions? It's the mask, I think. Can you hear me okay? Because I'll take it off if you can't hear me.
No, they can hear you.
It's not clear. Audio is not clear. A lot of echo. Okay, let me see if I can improve on that. All right, how about here? Is this better? Does that take out the echo? Because I have to get this down someday so we don't have the echo. Is that better? Anybody tell me? Pardon? Take it off? Okay. I'll take off the mask and see how that goes. Is that better? Okay. Well, anyway, guys, I'm really excited about this. The website is going up really well. We've got a real nice base of subscribers, and I think anybody that's subscribing, kind of give me your comments if you like the morning emails. The trading account just went from went over 20. I can't read it. We just went over 20 Bitcoin this morning, and we started with 2 in the first week of February. Let me get my glasses on. So, okay. Yes, much better. Okay. This is the mask. Well, we're going to work that out because I really do like the mask, and I feel freer to say things with the mask. Anyway, are there any subscribers that have been getting the newsletters? And if you have any questions or if you have any ideas, I'll be glad to cover that now. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, Ugly, can you put in your actual buy orders and where your stops are and where your buy and sell orders are?" And no, I can't do that because number one, trading is dynamic; it's constantly changing. So even if I gave that, 30 minutes later, it could all change. Trading is not static. And the other thing too, it would undermine. Oops. Okay, I put the link to the newsletter on the tweet. So just go to uglyoldgoat.com and hit subscribe or newsletter, hit newsletter. And you will automatically get a discount of 50%. Right now, our website's only, I call it half-assed because it's only about half working, so you get a half price. But you get, by getting the full lifetime charter trading subscription, you're going to get a whole history of the trading account that I opened the first week of February. And you can kind of see, how it works. I do this regularly. I know last year I almost thought I wasn't going to make money trading because I was trading and I broke even all year. But I did catch that last leg down and it made all the difference. That's all you need to do is catch 1 or 2 good moves. Well, this year, hopefully I caught one right off the bat. I'm trading in a very small way because I can't, if I was trading in a large way, I couldn't be doing things like this. So the only way I can teach you, and I'm a lousy teacher, but I know how to do it. So if you can see how I do it and you don't want to follow me. If you're going to try and follow me, you're not going to be a successful trader. You've got to learn to do this on your own. And what you're going to get as emphasis from me, there's only one rule you need to know, and that is your money management. You can't screw that up. You can be the best trader in the world. You screw it up once, and you're wiped out. It's that simple. So you can't let your ego thinking that you're so smart in the market, because we're not. I have no idea what the market's going to do. But I can find situations that are very low risk. And for example, I was never bearish this market when we went through 3,500. I never thought we'd break 3,000 because of the basis. And that got me long. Now, I got long lower. I wanted to build a big position, but I got stopped out, but it wasn't because I hated getting stopped out because I knew I was right, but money management said, hey, you got to take that loss. And then I waited, and when we popped up over the 2-week high, I waited for the sell-off and bought. And you saw how I worked the account, and it was up to about 6.5 Bitcoin when we made that peak. I think it was 41.90, and during all this little wiggle waggles, all these little wiggle waggles, I was able to build the account. So the next time we hit that peak, I was at, I think, 10.5 Bitcoin. And now I'm over 20 because, of course, we hit the pop, which, again, I didn't know it was going to happen. I certainly thought it could happen. And it's by knowing, and I trimmed, but I stayed long, and I'm still long, and there's no reason to be anything but long in the market right now. So I see I have another question. Okay. Okay, okay, the ninth, the sequential is useful, and it's only a tool. And the other thing is dynamic, so you gotta be real careful with it, because you can have something you think is a 9, and it winds up, it's not a 9, never was a 9. Or now Toad's improved that a little bit, since well, if it was a 9, it's going to show up. This was a 9 at one time, then it turned down, down into a 1. So that's helpful. But still, the sequential dynamic. I was familiar with sequentials back in the 1970s and 80s, and I'll just tell you, I've studied everything that I know is available out there, and most of it I look at it and 85% I just throw away. You don't need to have all that information. And that's why I say there's a difference between an analyst and an analyst. If you're an analyst and you think you can quantify and make this all scientific, you're not going to be able to do it, because it is an art and it's a dance. And that's what we're going to be talking about Saturday. It's the psychology of this thing, and why you have to get in and do the dance. It's a dance. It's a beautiful thing. And look at the YouTube. It's this guy right up here in the back. I sent it's Castusas is his first name. I can't say the last name, but found out he's a neighbor of ours. He did a little thing on dollar averaging, and somebody sent it, and then he did this other stuff. And he's got some really good stuff, and he's careful. And most of the people that are out here bragging about how good they are at calling the markets, and I don't call the markets, I trade the markets, okay? I don't call them. And if you ask me where the market's going, I don't know. And I trade on that basis, knowing I don't know. It's because I don't know that I'm a good trader, okay? And that's what you have to instill in your own mind. But the one thing I do know is I know how much I can risk. And that's how you control the situation. So let's see what else we have. Okay, the charter discount is going to end April 30th. Now I'm hoping to have the referral codes out before then. And so you'll have a week or two to refer people, and they can still get it for the discounted price. Now you'll get 15%. Now there's a real big reason why I'm doing this, because I'm a big believer in Bitcoin. I believe in the development of the Bitcoin standard. And as a hodler, you need to build up revenue streams. And this is going to be one way that you can do it. And, I want to show you this, my shirt too. I don't know if you, what's that say? I have Jesus here helping me. And it's Jesus. So, but it's like in English, it's hey Jesus. But anyway, he's going to be backing me up on your questions, if you come to our website. But this is something we just made today. We have all the equipment to make our own t-shirts. And this says, I'm the old goat. And it says, let's build. And that's what we want to do. I want you guys to sign up. Once we get this referral thing, most of the material is going to be free. Okay? All the articles I write, that they don't have anything to do with trading, they're going to be there. Things on dollar averaging, they're going to be there, and you can forward that to somebody with your little referral code, and if they sign up, you're going to get 15% paid in Bitcoin. And so it can be a nice little, way that you can build income. And we're doing this so other people like Tone and people that have websites can put a referral base on their website. So it's a way that we are going to start building the use case for the Bitcoin standard. Okay, how do I do perp versus futures? Well, it is on the basis. And for example, if you're a subscriber, you noticed I've been that long, and I said if we get this top, I'm going to be trimming, and I'll probably sell the perp against the futures. Because what happens when you go into the bull market, you've seen the backwardization end, you're going to see the funding go to the shorts. So it's a way that I can stay long, and by having a short position on the perp, I'm actually long Bitcoin and getting paid a small little interest, every 8 hours for being long. Now I fudged a little bit because I'm a lot more, I'm a big believer in Bitcoin and not a believer in Ethereum. And Ethereum's got a real nice funding. So I was selling Ethereum against the Bitcoin. I do not recommend you guys do that as novice traders. I mean, I can do it, but I almost regretted it when I saw it because it could cause a potential problem. I was at the point, the nice thing about it, the market was going up and I didn't have as big a position on, but as the market was going up, my equity still rose, not as fast, but it went up to, I think, about 22 Bitcoin. And when it broke, the equity went up too. And it's kind of hard, but basically it rounds out so you're not having these wild equity swings. And that's how you do it. And it's a way that you can, if you're do it right, and you can be short the perp when there's a funding to the shorts and long those futures, and you're long, but you're getting paid for being long. And that's the reason I do it. And the other thing that you see is the backwardization is gone. So all those futures that I bought, I was buying, it was $100, $200 under spot. All those futures, they gained $100 more than the perp. And so that's how you take advantage of those situations in the market. And there's fundamental reasons for that. The reason is when that futures is at a discount, hedgers are legitimate hedgers that know what they're doing. They're not going to be using that because they're selling it'd be much better to sell your Bitcoin on the spot and buy those futures and capture that difference. And that's what they do. So eventually that backwardization is going to come back. And that's why it is a bullish situation for Bitcoin and not a bearish one. We've gotten this pop, and I have no idea. I mean, this market could run up to 7,600 very easily, and we've tracked everybody that sold their hot dogs, and they may never get back in. And that's why I emphasize the dollar averaging. You don't want to get rid of your HELO. You don't want to ever be short. And if you noticed on the trading account, I sold a lot of things against my long, but I was still net long. And like I said, the only thing that I was a little bit, I kind of regretted I put it on there because I don't want to teach you guys bad habits. And I was selling the Ethereum against the Bitcoin. And I was surprised Ethereum went up. I mean, it didn't surprise me when I saw what was it, Bcash and all these others that were dropping while Bitcoin went up. So wow, it's finally here, but then they caught up too. And Tone kind of explained it. He thought, well, people that missed out on Bitcoin started buying Bcash, and that could very well be. I will say this, I mean, you can make a case either way right now. We had to have this rally to go down. Okay. Now we can go down below 3,000. Okay. I don't know that we will. Right now, you should be long. You just, you should be riding this thing all the way up. You trail and buy back. I didn't know if my trend was going to work, but we got this break. I covered almost all my Ethereum, and my equity went up when it was going up, and my equity went up when it went down. And I don't know, the last time I checked, I think it was about 22 Bitcoin. And I kind of want to, the way I'm tied in, I can't pull any funds out because they don't have a spread margin, and they don't credit you for a spread margin like you do on futures exchanges. So and you can actually get blown out of one side when you shouldn't. So it is something, if you don't understand it, don't be shorting particularly something like Ethereum, a different asset against one asset against another asset. And that's what I did, and it worked out. But, you know, unless you really know what you're doing, I don't recommend that you do that. So let's see what else you're saying here. Okay. Yeah, I took it off because people couldn't hear me, and I want you guys to hear what I say. I'll put it on, and I started out with the foot mask on. It's right here. So here we are. The goat is here. But anyway, I'm real pleased with the subscriptions. I mean, I didn't know if this thing was going to fly or not, but it is. And so I'm going to expand and do YouTube. The first serious YouTube I'm going to do is going to be this one that we're going to do on Saturday. And I sent the links is on the tweet. We'll put the links on this. We didn't put it on when we started the stream, but we'll put it on afterwards. And you need to go to Castus's website and watch his videos before we do it, because you'll have all kinds of questions to ask him. I have lots of questions to ask him, but he's come up with some really cool stuff. And he said, well, when I show you this, you'll never look at a chart the same way again. And I don't believe that. And then he showed it to me and said, you know, you're right. I'm not ever going to, now I look at a chart and all I'm seeing is Y's and H's. And I've never, and he said, I don't think anybody's ever pointed this out before. And I said, you know what, I think you're right. And then I saw this great big, I thought of an H for me. And so I wasn't planning on it, but I sold, just before the rally, I sold a little bit more than I would have normally. So I said, don't just jump in with new things. And you don't need a lot of knowledge to be a successful trader. You don't need to, you need to just have a few that are consistent and you know how to use. Because you're just going to wind up confusing yourself. But this is as much of a psychology game as it is anything else. And that's what we're going to be talking about on Saturday. You need to do the dance. And it is a dance. And so you wind up getting in the flow. And you know, and then when you start getting a misstep, you need to just sit aside, do a wallflower profile. And that's hard to do because after you know, I've been there when, oh, I just took a big loss, I'm going to make it all back. Well, you don't need to. You can take 2 Bitcoin and run it into 20 Bitcoin and you can do it in a matter of months. And I've done it time and time again. Okay, and that's how you do it. And you don't need to be the biggest trader on the block. Okay, and you guys, again, somebody was asking me, can you send me all your, and I send you the record. You can see what I did, but it's constantly changing because I'm doing the dance, okay? But it's all based on underlying fundamentals, and the number one fundamental is the money management. All your little techniques after that are fine and dandy. All right, now, I mean, the sequential is very handy, but yet it has so many mixed signals because we don't know. This thing could, you know, it could reverse right here and it could just keep on popping up to 7,600. Then what? Now we got a whole bunch of people, you know, trapped that got sold out. And, you know, we just don't know. Bitcoin is such a unique asset. There's never been anything like it that we don't know what's going to happen. We can kind of say there's general principles. One of those principles that I preach about is the exit, and that's exit. You say it with the lift and a weak wrist, and that's, I named it after Vitalik Buterin in his honor. But I think that this is what you're going to see, and you know how long these other alts. You know, when at Unconfiscatable conference, Tyler Jenks, you know, called them like barnacles on a ship, and we have to cream that ship and scrape them all off. And I agree with that completely. And they are going to get creamed off. We just don't know how they're going to do it. I mean, this thing could run back up to the one thing that Bitcoin never did. It never made, a lot of these other coins made a secondary high, and Bitcoin never did. So we could go back up, all the way back to a double top, and the vault's not followed. Now we can get that break. You know, I don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. But, you know, if right now I'm long, there's no reason to go short. I trimmed, I got all the way down where I only had maybe 5 or 10 Bitcoin long, and that's this last sell-off, I unwound it all. So I'm back along with a much more comfortable position. But the number one thing is my equity wasn't fluctuating. My equity shot way up, and then it started going up slower and slower because I was trimming all the way up, okay? And then when it dropped, my equity went up a little bit more. And that's what trimming does. It kind of mellows out your trading. It smooths out those equity swings that scare you so much. All right, so let's see.
They want to know about your suit.
Okay. What time Saturday? It will be in the afternoon. I'm going to guess about 4 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock Pacific time, which that's going to be, I think it's 3 hours different on the East Coast. On the East Coast, it'll be about 8 o'clock at night, 7 or 8. But it should be just super. This guy is really fascinating. He grew up under Soviet Russia until he was 8 years old in Lithuania. He was Lithuanian. He actually went lived in England for a while, went to Cambridge, very highly educated, and has been developed several successful businesses, and now he's turning those over for management, and he's doing full-time Bitcoin research, and this really some good stuff. I mean, I'm not impressed by most of the stuff that's out there. I really like Tone keeps it real simple for people, and I like Tidal Exchange Hyperwave. I don't believe in the other way, but I know the stochastics and all that. Moving averages, they're okay on maybe turning points, but I've never needed moving averages as basis for successful trading. I keep an eye when if you have like the golden cross, the long time crosses are important. Okay, what do you will? Okay. 2-week high, 2-week low. I measure from. I actually take the last 2 weeks, not 14 days, and that's the way I measure it. It's real simple, and I'll be going into it more and more. But once it takes it out, it doesn't always set back. So you kind of have to be careful because sometimes it just takes out high and keeps on going. This time was such a great move because it took it out, it came back, let you buy in, and I'm a big believer when people are saying, "Oh, this market doesn't interest me." Well, that's when it interests me, because when those markets are real quiet like that, you can establish a huge, nice position with very little risk. Most of the time they're going to go up. Now, it didn't last October, and basis told you it wasn't. But this time, when it broke down, this time this is going to be a move up, not down. And then the other time, the first time it takes out the previous week's low. And so I was turning. I didn't know it was going to take out that low, but if it did, I was a buyer. And so when it took out that low, boom, I bought back my trims. And then, of course, I had a full boat loaded when it went up. Unfortunately, I sold a little bit too soon, and we'll just let that rain. So, how does position trading have different risk management for you? Well, the way I do swing trading is that's what I do, trimming and goat stops. Basically, I'll trim. If it's going down, I'll trim, by buying some back, and then when it rallies, I'll sell it. And the opposite if it's a bull market. And okay. Oh. So that's what I did when the market was in that dead phase. It went up a little bit. I didn't trim a lot. I trimmed a little bit, but when it took out the previous week's low, I was able to buy all the trim back. And now I had a much nicer position. When we started the position, it was 2 Bitcoin. When it rallied up to 41.90, it got to as much as 6.5. By the next time it got to 41.90, I was at 12, but I doubled the Bitcoin. And now it's at over 22. And now the key is I don't want to give it back. I really just don't want to give hardly any of it back. And so that's why I'm managing it. I really want to reduce the position and pull out as much as I can. And I might just go back to 2 Bitcoin again and do it again. And I think that would be a better lesson because, I can show you can do this consistently. You really can. It takes time. It takes patience. You have to work it. And if I'm only trading a small position like that, if I lose it all, it's no big deal. So, but if I'm trading a much larger amount, it makes a difference. And one article I need to write too is it doesn't take that much. You can take a quarter of a Bitcoin, and you take $1,000, which is a quarter of a Bitcoin, say that, and you double that 11 times. That's $1 million. That's the way it works. And you can do it. You can. And that's the way a business works too. And so you have to treat this as a business. And this new website, that we're building, and this whole thing, like this shirt, we have our own factory here. We're going to make our own shirts. And and that's Bitcoin provided that. And so to me, the future of Bitcoin is there's 2 kinds of entrepreneurs. There's those with Bitcoin and those without. What do you got here? Oh yeah, here's one of the hats that we made. You gotta open that up because they got a big hat. All right. My wife designed this one. I love Bitcoin. That's it. So, and we're going to have a whole slew of different ones. I got the ugly fishing hat, and you'll be getting a shirt or a hat, or maybe both, whatever we decide to give away. We don't have a store yet. We're just going to give stuff away when we get the store, then you can choose what you want. So we're just going to be, like I say, on the promotion, it's swag, and say it's our choice, not yours, because we're not at the point where you can say, well, I need an extra large or I need a small. You're going to get what you get. A hat, they're adjustable. So we'll probably just send hats. So let me see what you got for questions. It sucks getting old. Yes, I do. Yes, I love quiet markets. When nobody's interested in it, that's when I'm interested. And let me tell you something. If you want to learn about that, the guy that I'm a big fan of, and I read his book. I bought it again because I'm teaching other people, and he was the biggest influence, one of the biggest influences on me. And that's Ted Warren. And this guy was trading during the Depression and had no more than a 6th grade education. So you don't have to be a rocket scientist or a degree from Cambridge to be a successful trader. And he, in fact, Tyler Jenks and I hit it off tremendously because we're about the same age. We had lots of war stories to tell. And I asked him flat out, I said, I love this hyperwave theory. I said, you didn't happen to get that from Ted Warren? And he said, yeah, I did. So he acknowledges that Ted Warren is now he's refined it, but Ted really, it was just a simple idea. You want these quiet markets, and he called it being an investigator. And he always thought the markets were manipulated, which is fine, whatever works for you. I mean, yeah, they are and they aren't. I mean, they can be, but in the long run, they're not. And but yes, I love the quiet markets. If you notice, when I've done well, it's in those quiet markets before it begins to trend. I did not do that well. I mean, I came out ahead last year, but for most of the year, I was treading water. And I did real well because I sold a lot of Bitcoin and bought other assets. And that's what you need to do. Oh, another thing that we're going to be covering on Saturday is dollar cost averaging on steroids. And if you have a chance, look at the YouTube on that, because Gustavus has, did I say that right? Kestufus did a real good video, and he said just do the dollar averaging and use the Trace Meyer, whatever it's called, the principle, where it's a certain ratio, and you just buy it there. And that, yeah, that would be dollar averaging on super steroids. The only problem with that is you may not ever be able to buy it for a long time, because when it goes up, and it stays there a long time. So when people ask, well, when do I start dollar averaging? Well, you know, I say right now. You just need to start, and the way you need to look at it, the way I show it to you is you can see it when you enter at the very worst time. So assume today we're at 5,000. You didn't start at 15,000. So take all of that you would have bought between 15,000 and where it is today, and just buy it in one lump sum, and you're way ahead of the game. Okay, and it's that simple. That's a very simple principle. And then every month, go ahead and do your dollar cost averaging, and that's going to work out for you. And then, you know, I'll be working on things how you dollar cost average in reverse. And a lot of the dollar cost averaging on reverse for me happened because I have a young wife that likes to spend money. And you know what? I didn't like giving up my Bitcoin to buy her a Mercedes, or to buy her a Ford Raptor, or to buy a new house, or whatever it was. But you know what? That was the best thing we did. And now, you know, we have a lot of assets apart from Bitcoin. We still have a Bitcoin home. You know, not what we had, but you know, we don't. All of our needs are met. All of our needs are met. I don't have to be doing this at all. I'm doing it because I really enjoy doing it. I'm a lousy teacher, but I do know what I'm doing.
That's true.
Yeah, Eddie works for me. He knows I can't teach anybody anything. Okay?
That's true.
But I can show you what I do. Okay, and that, you know, it works. And you know, I'm no rocket science. I'm just an average guy, and most of my followers are just average people. And you can do it too. But like the number one thing you need to drill in your head is money management. And the number two rule is don't think you know where the market's going. Okay? And there's some people that are reasonably good at calling the markets. Tom's really good. Okay? But even the best callers, they realize that, hey, they're not 100%. If you're 60% right, you're doing pretty good. So, but you can be a lot more right than that if you just find situations that have a low risk. And that's what you're looking for. And it doesn't matter whether you're long or short, because you're going to limit what you put into it. Okay. Why do I use cross margin? Just because I don't want to mess with being wrecked. I mean, I don't really have any reason to use cross. You don't have to use cross. If you want to set a closer stops, it'd probably be better to use you know, a higher amount. But I kind of set, you know, I don't have in my account any more than I'm willing to lose. Like I want to pull money out now because I don't, you know, I pulled out, you know, made 20 Bitcoin, and I want to pull most of it out. There's no reason for me to have it in there, you know, anymore. And we can do it all over again. You know, by the same token, you know, right now this is a trending market. You know, maybe we're just going to reverse, go right back down. But that's going to be, you know, we just have to see. I mean, there's mixed indicators. Normally, the way I do it is just follow the market as it's going up. If we take out a previous week's low again, I'll be a buyer. I do it usually 2 times. I don't like to do it the 3rd time, because one of those times it turns around and it bites you. But yeah, you trim and use goat stops. If you're having problems getting stopped out, the way I recommend it is just don't put on a very big position. Where you would normally put your stop, just buy some more. And it's kind of like doubling down. And there's no magic place for stops. People say, well, where do I put myself? Oh, they look at charts. I don't look at charts. How much are you going to risk? That's where you get out. So unless says I'm out, you know. And that's how you set your stops. It all depends upon your equity. And then we're going to be working on some things too. I've talked to Tone about it, and I think pass it on to Tyler. I have an engineer working on it, but I think that where the sequential can really help is in your own trading. When you hit a 9 on your own equity, that's the time to get out and reverse. And I think that will apply as, for everybody to be unique. My 9 is going to be different than your 9, but it would give you a big hint on that. Theoretically, your equity could just go up exponentially and never go down. Theoretically, and practically that's never going to happen. But you know, anyway, I'm just really pleased. You know, and I'm kind of doing something daring because I don't know of anybody really that publishes all. Here's what I'm doing, and I guess give me your comments. If you're getting the subscribers who are listening, are there any improvements you want when I send out my newsletter in the morning, or where I just my number one thing is I'm just going to send you a picture of the account so you can see what's happened. I would never go short this market. First of all, Tone would never go. You need to qualify Tone. Okay, Tone will go short, but he's going to sell some of his Bitcoin. Basically, he's not going short. He's just taking some profit, hedging his long position. So you don't want to go net short. I don't know where the market's going to go. I mean, it could pull back to 4,200. I think if it pulls back to 4,200, we're probably going to go down and break 3,000. But I can see it. There's no reason this thing could just keep on going. It's a unique new asset. And I sold, and the thing that I was impressed by the last 2 days is you sell this thing and you're stepping in front of a freight train, and you better know what you're doing. I mean, there had to be some people that got pretty well burned if they went net short. Now, I sold against it, but I never went net short. I just had less longs. So my profit started, instead of going like this and like this, I went like this and then like this, and then when we dropped, it still went like this. And so, and that's you got to do what you're comfortable with. And the people that if you sold this thing, how high did we get today? If you sold it at 50 or 51, you had to sweat. You had to do some sweating. What's up? No, there's nothing happening. So, okay. Yeah, okay, I agree. You do the TA to your own account, and we're going to try and write the software for it. There's other people that are excited about that, and it would be proprietary, where we just sell it. It's a money raising too. Sell it one time, you plug it into your BitMEX, and you can see what your equity. You basically you're plotting the high-low close of your own equity. And so, if your equity is hitting a 9, it might be time to not be so greedy and just take some home. And because that's the hardest thing in these markets. Is the hardest thing you do is just sell way too early and take the little profits for you. How many people missed out on the big move in 2017? And a lot of people, if they sold low, they bought it, maybe 800 or 1,000 or whatever, but they sold it 2,000 or 3,000 or whatever. And so you just don't know. And that's where this market is now. I mean, I'm long. I'm going to stay long. I have no reason to think this market's going to go down. And it has to take, for me to change the trend, it has to take out that 2-week low. Well, that's way down there now. And it could go right back down there. But if it does, okay, I'll give up a little bit of what I've made, but I've taken enough out of it and I'm not going to get hurt. And I did, like I say, picked up today a little bit because I did, I shouldn't have done it, but I sold quite a bit of Ethereum against the Bitcoin. And when the Ethereum broke, it broke a lot harder than the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin I sold never went back down to my average. Ethereum did. I covered, 2/3 of my position and made some money at it. And I'm still, I'm getting paid for my long because my short perp in Ethereum and my short perp in the Bitcoin, every 8 hours, I'm a little bonus for being long. Whereas I was just net long, I wouldn't be getting that. All right. Well, I'm done then. If you guys are done, we'll be doing this. Yeah.
We're gonna do a Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. You know, we're gonna be doing the next video won't be at my place here. It's gonna be at Castusa's home. I was invited to his home, and he's a neighbor of mine. I live in Mexico, and he lives across the border in beautiful San Diego. And so we're both really stoked about it. He's really putting out some good stuff, and he knows what he's doing on the YouTube. How do I establish a volatile position like right now? You can't. It's hard. I mean, you missed it. You know, if you didn't get in, that's why I like the quiet markets. You know what? I would hate to be in that boat. You know, what do I do now? And that's what more and more people is happening to. Because you're sitting here, and if it goes to 7,500 now, well, now what? Whereas, you know, by looking at the basis, by, you know, establishing the position before you had the breakout, when it was real quiet down there, using a reasonable stop. And I got stopped out once, all right? But I went right, and I lost more than I really wanted to. I think I went on the drop down from October. I think I picked up 22 or 23 Bitcoin, and I lost 5.5 because I wanted to establish. My plan was to buy a really big position when it took out the 2-week high and double it on that setback. Instead, I had to do it much more traditionally. I didn't do anything when it took out the 2-week high. When it sold off, I started accumulating. And that's when and then as it went up, I was trimming it back, filling and so forth. And when it went up to 41.90, I did not expect that big break that we had. I got caught on that one too. But I trimmed enough that when it did break, I could buy back all that I sold. And so I actually improved my position. I was able to do that several times. And when you see all these people getting wrecked, and there's that new website, I forgot, what's that thing I called? See if I can pull it. It's called, I don't know how to share a screen, but let's see, this thing is called SKU, S-K-E-U. You look at that thing, and when you start seeing a whole lot of reds and blues, that's when you want to be trimming. And that's what happened. We blew out a lot of people, and there's going to be a lot more getting blown out if we run this thing up to, you know, 6,000 or 7,000 now. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I have a much smaller position. I think before this thing took off, I was long about 80 Bitcoin, and then I'm down to about 30 right now. But I've got orders to cover some short, and, you know, we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know. Don't know. All right. All right. Well, I think I'm done. Yeah, there's really not a whole lot. I'm not a big, you know, I don't microanalyze the markets. And I'm a big believer in, you just use a few things. Big believer in money management. Everything that I teach is centered around that. And you've got to get that down because, like this, the only rule if you break, it can wipe you out. And you don't want that. And then the other hard part is if you have the problem of, you know, okay, I can, you know, build my equity, and then you want to lose it all. You have to put in safeguards so you keep that equity. And if nothing, and that's probably what I'm going to do, is just maybe reduce this account all the way back down to 2 Bitcoin. But I really don't see, you know, and I'll do it maybe when I'm pretty sure the trend is over with. But right now, there's nothing that says this thing's going down, except those nines. Those are scary nines, but the monthly nine tells a different story. You got quite, you know, weekly, I guess. It just, and remember, that's a 1 to 4 candle sell-off, which is reasonable. And, you know, has the trend changed? Yes, it looks like it has, but, you know, we don't, if it gets to 7,500, then everybody will say it's changed. But I said, well, I think it's a good bet it's gonna change when it was 3,000. And it did, so, you know, now I'm in a strong position. You always wanna be the strong hand. You're coming into this thing now trying to establish a position. You're not a strong hand, you know, you missed it, so don't worry about it. It's always gonna be another market, but you're not a strong hand. And, because you're just not. You know, the volatility is picked up. It's a lot more risky. And whereas, you know, and the other problem too is during that quiet market, if you're getting stopped out, then you know you really didn't get the game. It's quiet, so you have to be substantially above or below that. Otherwise, you have to play in those parameters. You can't just you want to be a strong hand when you're trading. You don't want to be weak. You don't want to be moved by the market. You want to let the market do what it's going to do and then make you move. And there's a big difference. So, all right. Well, I'm done. I just wanted to, you guys.
Dance before you leave. Do the dance before you leave.
Oh, do the dance. Okay, I can do that. I got to put on my mask though for that. Come on over here, Eddie. I'm going to introduce you. This is my sister. Come on. No, I didn't want to be in it. That's fine. Okay, hold on to my staff, and we'll do
The dance?
Yeah. All right. There we go. I'll run through it.
Oh, okay.
No, keep it. Yeah, I'll do that. I can do that. Okay. Oh, one more thing. We're looking into doing a blue collar cruise from Los Angeles to Ensenada, and it'd be like September, I think it's 24th, that Saturday. So they have they're gonna have a race, off-road race, and that's what Ensenada's famous for. The Baja 1000 starts here, and the Baja 500, 250, and it's really cool. So we're looking to get in a Carnival cruise and, you know, have workshops on the cruise. Leaves on a Thursday and it comes back on Sunday. And it's really expensive. I think it's just a few $100s. And the first one will have just a few small number of people. But if it works, hey, my goal is maybe we can start a whole cruise ship because eventually. So we're working on that one, and we're working on the affiliate call. So this says, let's all build up, okay? So huddle, 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 save, build, somebody. Come on, guys, it's been fun. Bye-bye.